Matthews, and as you know, I run Empowered STEM. And tonight I'm talking to the UAE parents, and I wanted to talk to you about the hidden cost of group tutoring, why it fails A-level students who aim high. Now, on Monday, we decided that the biggest mistake UAE parents are making when they're trying to help their teen revise for A-levels is that they believe that more tutoring equals better results. And I think at the end of the live stream, we kind of concluded that your teen can fall into the passive learning trap. And how we overcome the passive learning trap is we use active learning and we use the 6 principles of neuroscience as applied to learning. Now, tonight, then, what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about group tutoring, but behind the camera, I have legal. All right, he's my legal advisor, and he has advised me that what I have to say in this one is that this is in my opinion, because I'm talking about group tutoring and got to make sure I don't get sued on this one, because those tutors out there that are running the group tutoring model, or as they call it, the webinar model now, they get a little bit upset about this one. But here we are then. I wanted to talk about group tutoring and how group tutoring is holding your teen back from achieving the A and the A-star grades. Now, when it comes to group tutoring parents, it's just not about the money that you wasted on group tutoring. It's the confidence that your teen has lost. It's the time that's been misused by group tutoring. And it's the opportunities missed, the offers to the top universities that they'll never receive. So if your teen is a high flyer, like they all are, all right, the parents on these calls, they all have teens that want to go to Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, Harvard, Yale, Division I schools in the US, red brick universities in the UK, maybe King's, UCL, Imperial. You need to make sure that your teen gets the top grades, the A and the A star. And to get the A and the A star, well, every mark counts. Every grade boundary matters, because 1 out of 5 teens, one out of 5 students will earn an A star. All right, 1 out of 3 will get an A. And so the issue that I have with group tutoring is that group tutoring, or as they're now trying to call it, the webinar model, group tutoring, it isn't designed for the level of precision that you need in order to get your teen to get the A or the A star. It's more of a one-size-fits-all model. Kind of like you go into a store and you buy a suit off the rack and there's only one size. Do you think that's going to be a really good tailored fit? No. And so with the group tutoring, the issue then is that they're trying to serve students with widely diverse, different needs with one approach. And this is the problem. The one approach model, the cookie cutter model, it doesn't apply to learning in general, and especially with those students who want to earn the A and the A star in A-level maths and A-level science. So here's the 3 hidden costs then of group tutoring. Number 1, missed gaps equals missed marks. In group tutoring, the teen's specific weaknesses, they go unnoticed because they're in a large group. Don't get me started, parents. I mean, I've heard that some of these tutors, they actually have groups of up to 98 students. So imagine that your teen is in a group, a webinar model, as they're now trying to gloss over it and call it, with 98 other students. Wow. Well, think, if your teen didn't get it with 24 students in the class, How on earth are they supposed to get it with 98 students in the class? I don't know. But the problem is that because they're using the one-size-fits-all model, there's no precision diagnosis. So they don't know what your teen knows or what your teen doesn't know. There's no targeted feedback specifically for your teen. There's just some general feedback. And it's just a slow march through the syllabus, week after week after week. And the problem is this. The problem is that at A-level maths, A-level science, small cracks become massive problems under pressure. So small cracks in your teen's understanding of the concepts or exam technique become massive problems under pressure. Meaning when they're sitting in the sports hall at the end of year 12, going for the UCAS prediction grades, they can be predicted results to get into the university of choice. Or when they're sitting in the sports hall at the end of year 13, they're taking their final exams after 2 years of hard work. Small gaps in their understanding become massive problems under pressure. Number 2 is wasted time equals wasted potential. You know, one of my coaches, he had a really great explanation about time. He said, time waits for no man. And so bottom line is, time is going to proceed forward for your team. It's not their friend. It's either working for them or it's working against them. But the sand is going through the hourglass. And so your teen's time is just way too valuable to be spending on learning topics that they already know. Not only is it boring for your teen, but it's also a complete waste of their time. I mean, can you imagine you're in school all week and then you've got to sit down and watch the same movie again with the same level of understanding. And you're sitting there as a teen going, well, I could be doing something more productive with my time. In group, the issue I have with group tutoring, or as they call it, the webinar model, is that group wastes your teen's time because it's making them review, and it's making them review topics that they already know. It's making them go through repetition of questions they already know how to answer. And they're sitting there waiting for others to catch up. Yes, all the teens in the group learning model, they're not at the same level. I mean, you've got to stop and think about that, right? They have teens in there that are sitting at an A, sitting there at a B, sitting there at a C, because they'll just accept anybody into the large group. Well, think about it. If your teen is sitting at an A or a B and they're waiting for someone to catch up and they're sitting at a C or a D, it's not a good use of their time and they don't have time to waste. What your teen should be doing, your teen should be in an environment where they're being stretched with their knowledge and understanding of the concept. They're applying the concept to novel situations like they will see on the exam. Questions they've never seen before, so they can't memorize them. And they should be having exam-focused strategy. You don't get this with group tutoring. You get the sage on the stage, the solopreneur teacher who's now a tutor, teaching, air quote, to 98 other students. Now look, parents always ask me, Graham, how do you know it's 98 students? Well, simple. On Zoom, and most of them hold these conferences, these group learning sessions on Zoom, the maximum number of students, of people you can have on Zoom before you have to move from the basic Zoom level up to the professional Zoom level, which costs you money, is 99. So one tutor, 98 students in a learning environment. Now, parents, I don't know about you, but you can leave a comment in the chat about this one. I don't think that's the best outlook for your teen. Third thing is there's no mindset, there's no strategy, there's no A or A star. Even bright, hardworking students, parents such as yours, your teen is going to fall short. And it isn't because they don't know the content. Oh, sure, they know the content. The problem is they weren't taught how to think like an examiner. They weren't taught how to manage pressure. They weren't taught how to maximize marks strategically. And so they're at a severe disadvantage. Group tutoring, it rarely teaches this. It rarely trains students on how to do these three things, because what it is that it's all content-based. Group tutoring is content-based. They're just trying to get you through an hour or 90 minutes of a lesson with 98 students in it. How are you supposed to ask questions with 98 students on a group call? I've heard that you type it into a chat. Well, parents, I didn't graduate from the Mavis Beacon typing school, but I couldn't imagine somehow typing chemistry questions into a chat stream. If you have 98 students doing it, how on earth is the tutor who's teaching the lesson supposed to answer all the questions? I don't know. But what your teen needs to succeed is that they need these three things. They need to think like an examiner, manage pressure, and maximize the marks strategically. Now, parents, students enrolled in our courses succeed. And the reason why they succeed is that we build these skills into the lessons every single week. Now, imagine, if you would, your teen is walking into the exam. It could be year 12 exam. It could be the year 13 exam. They're walking into the exam. They're cool, they're calm, and they're collected. And the reason is that they're not hoping that they revised enough. Because let's be honest, parents, hope is not a strategy. They're not hoping that they've revised enough. They know how to approach every question with strategy, structure, and calm. Now imagine that for a minute. Imagine your teen walking in to a year 12 or a year 13 exam and being able to answer every question because they know the strategy, they know the structure, and they're just sitting there calmly answering the questions. And then they come out and you ask them, you say, son, daughter, how did the exam go today in A-level chemistry? And they can look at you and say, Mom, Dad, it went really well. I can answer all the questions on the exam. In fact, I was done early. This level of readiness that I'm talking about, parents, you don't get this with group tutoring. Because group tutoring is designed to be a one-size-fits-all. It's designed just to be a cookie-cutter approach, and it's driven by content. You don't get this with group tutoring. What you get it with is with a system that's been designed for success, like the courses we offer at Empowered STEM. Now, did you know that 25% of students in group tutoring earn the grades they need for elite university courses? Let me say this again. 25% of students in group tutoring earn the grades they need for elite university courses. In other words, the A star, so they can be competitive candidates for medical, dental, veterinary, financial, and engineering programs at their chosen university in the UK or even in the US. So you do need to ask yourself, parents, what happened to the 75% of the other students? What grade did they get? Are they competitive candidates for the chosen program at the chosen university in the UK? Or are they going into clearing, hoping that some university somewhere will accept them in? Or maybe they have to do a degree that's kind of similar to what they were thinking about doing. In other words, you have to accept second best in life. Now, like I said, 25% of students in group tutoring will earn the grade that they need to be successful candidates, competitive candidates, the chosen program at the chosen university in the UK or the US. So at Empowered STEM, what we did is that we flipped the model. And so students enrolled in our courses, they get weekly mock exams. So they get bi-weekly mock exams. And so they know what they know and they know what they don't know, that we can help them fix it. They build up the exam technique. They build up the mental resilience. They get access to pre-recorded lessons before the live lessons. So when they're in the live lesson with the course tutor, they're not doing the easy questions, the ones that you can possibly get a C with. No, they're coming in, they haven't seen the concept before, haven't done some pre-work before they come into the lessons. And so the time spent with the tutor is spent doing the more difficult questions, the high yield questions, the application questions, the questions that require a deeper level of thought, those questions that move you from a B to an A to an A star. Our students get 24/7 access to the tutors, which means that they don't have to wait for the next lesson in their course to get help from the tutor. They can actually reach out to their tutor and they can get help when they need it. Because like I said, time waits for no man. It's going sand through the hourglass. They also get academic coaching. Because one thing that we know, parents, is this, is that a lot of students, because they're coming from GCSE to A level, they don't know how to study. They don't know how to revise. They don't bother teaching you this at sixth form college. They just hope you kind of, well, figure it out on your own. Do you really want your teen to figure this out on their own for an exam that's going to determine whether they become a doctor, a veterinarian, an engineer? Do you really want to leave this up to chance and hope that they can figure this out on their own, how to study, how to revise, when it's determining which university that they go to? Is it the university of choice, or is it, well, maybe a second or third option university that they got into through clearing? We also teach some mindset and resilience, because mindset and resilience become important because A level, it's a 2-year course. You have to have the right mindset. You have to have the right beliefs. You need the mental resilience because at the end of the day, not everything's going to go your way. And so if you get a bad test grade, a bad homework grade, a bad exam grade, you have to be able to bounce back from it. And we do all of this, parents, using our PATH method. Our PATH method is a proven, battle-tested, military-grade way that we've put together to help your teen walk the path to the A star. It contains 4 steps. You've got precision diagnosis, meaning that as soon as your teen comes in Very first thing they do is they take a baseline test with us. So we know what they know and we know what they don't know. Because what's the point of teaching them something that they already know? And we want to make sure that we don't miss those small cracks in the knowledge, because as I said, small cracks lead to major problems when it comes to exam time. Conceptual clarity. We teach your teen the concept at a very high level, very deeply, so that they know the concept inside and out. They can apply it under all possible situations. We'll leave no stone unturned, a really solid foundation of conceptual clarity. Strategic revision. Again, we know that memorizing past paper questions, it doesn't work. You need to be able to study. You need to be able to revise in a way that's going to allow you to earn the A and the A star grades. They don't teach this in sixth form college. So we teach it as part of our courses. Medical mindset. Like I said, mental resilience and mindset go hand in hand. Because what we do, parents, that differentiate us from the competition is this, is that we help transform your teen into the type of student they need to be so that they will be competitive candidates for medical, dental, veterinary, financial, and engineering programs, because they're going to secure the A and the A star. And that takes a certain level of student to be able to do that. So we help your teen transform into that student. Now, if your teen is aiming for an A or an A star, you need more than content delivery. You need to let the group tutoring idea go by the wayside. You need to flush it. Because what you need is that you need a system that will give your teen clarity, confidence, and strategy that actually works. That's a proven system. And we have helped over 500 students earn the grades they need in order to become competitive candidates. So we know that it works. Now, parents, if what I'm saying to you makes sense, if you're thinking, Graham, it does actually make sense what you're saying. I see now that the group tutoring is possibly not the best option for my teen because they're a high flyer. I want them to earn the A and the A star. Then all you got to do is click the link in the description to learn more about our A-level courses, because you can easily book a call in with a member of our team who will have a non-committal conversation with you. We'll explain how the courses work, how we can support your teen, because what we do is that we support teens around the UAE to achieve outstanding A-level success. It's what we do. So you have an option. You can either click on the link in the description, or you can message us directly and a member of my team will reach out to you. Everybody take care, and I'll see you in the next one.